Welcome to the Black on Shelf podcast, a podcast championing Black and brown entrepreneurs on the digital and physical shelves. I'm your host, Tanaj Ferguson. This is Black on Shelf. All right, today we have ConditionHER, and we are welcoming Gina and Wendy to the podcast. Super excited to hear from both of them and to have a dynamic duo, besties, corporate ladies, moms. So this is a really great time to talk to you all about ConditionHER, an intimate skincare brand. So we're going to kick it off. And Wendy, how about you talk to us a little bit about yourself? You are the CEO. Gina is the Chief Operations Officer. You're both dynamic women. Talk to us a little bit about your background.
Right. I think it's always interesting to hear that because I really am not a title-driven person. I actually loathe titles. In my day job, titles are tied to compensation. So that's the reason I care. But I consider Eugenia and I not only co-founders, but both CEOs, even though, corporate America requires us to give these titles. But first of all, thank you for this platform and the time. Tanaz, this is wonderful, not only for us, but for other Black and brown men and women that are trying to do what sometimes feels like the unthinkable. But by day, I'm an employed entrepreneur. I pretty much have been that all of my life and have been using that phrase for probably 20 years.
I love the phrase, by the way.
It very much so explains exactly what we do. And so I'm a TV marketing executive at a studio. I've been there 11 years and this position. So the trajectory just kind of has made itself up and started on ConditionHER. The idea came in 2013 and took us several years to figure it out, mostly how to find a chemist that could help us and someone we felt comfortable with to formulate a product for a woman's most prized possession and the most intimate space of bodies. And there were lots of hurdles, learning proper terminology for our body parts, and people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, what we learned in first, second, third, fourth grade, but found every other way to explain them. And we can get into that later. But yeah, by day, as you said so eloquently in the opening, I'm employed entrepreneur, mother of a 25-year-old son.
No. So we're looking and we're like,
yes,
it has to be 20 something. And then you talk about 20-something-year-old son.
No, 25, very much so single for those that are
all right. Send her them DMs by LinkedIn.
Yes. Send them on through. But bestie and sister friend of Eugenia for many, many years. So I'll hand it over to her to introduce herself.
Thank you.
Yes. I am Eugenia Marshall, and by day, I am the Chief Human Resources Officer of NKSFB, which is a large business management firm. And by night, as she stated earlier, I am a mommy, a friend, and a employed entrepreneur. I'm trying to get this brand off the ground. It has definitely been a journey, trying to juggle all those hats. And, I have a daughter graduating this month.
I can't with you too. I can't.
And a son in his sophomore year at Auburn. So it's definitely a lot to juggle.
But tell them where your daughter's gragraduating from, because we got to give them.
My daughter is graduating from Tennessee State University, an HBCU in the house.
Yes. I love that. Man, you all are so impressive, down to your own careers, but also what you're building with your children. That's amazing. This is literally why we have this type of platform. So folks know this is possible. Love the term employed entrepreneur. That's something that you can totally do as a way to enable these dreams and have that stability that many are concerned about, just having more options. So while we're on this topic, talk to us about why you did it this way. Why you decided to build your company this way and your careers this way.
For me, it kind of, Eugenia definitely has been more career driven. She has had a path from college, dealing in finance and accounting and all the things that she's done. She's had big jobs since I met her in our 20s. And so myself, I've always been entrepreneurial spirited. and literally have kind of found my way. I always knew I wanted to be entertainment adjacent or somehow in entertainment. Really, I wanted to work in music. Shout out to working in the music biz and are doing the thing, but I wanted to be an A&R and I managed an artist for a while. But, at that time when I was coming out of college and being a young mom, I had my son when I was 19, the path into an industry like that was very much so internship and and I know some of the young folks at home are like, well, what's wrong with that? Well, the problem was back then, these internships were unpaid. So there was a lot of working and traveling and every day, like full time, if you were an intern. And that was the whole beauty of having an intern for a business because they didn't have to pay them. And so I just was not afforded the leisure and the privilege of doing that when I made the decision to be a mom at such a young age. So I had to have a job. So I went to school, had a job and an internship through college. And so, so that wasn't, I guess, and I work at Warner Brothers in television. Shout out to my colleagues there. It's been a company to work at. We have some amazing shows that I hope you guys are all watching on whatever network that they're airing.
The Real, right? Was one of your
The Real, absolutely. I worked on The Real for 5 seasons. Shout out to those ladies. Absolutely adore them. The team in front of the camera as well as the team behind the camera. Very much so a sisterhood in that space.
Awesome.
And that's where our publicist and I actually met each other when she worked at our company. And so, yeah, it's been kind of just I came to my job through a temp agency. And so don't keep on the temp agency life. If you've never gone that route and you're trying to switch up careers, or you're in a space where you're trying to see what you've learned along the way that's now transferable to something different. So, at the time I went through a temp agency and landed what I thought was going to be a temp gig, something that I didn't have to take home with me because I was doing entrepreneurial endeavors in my evenings. And I wanted that time to leave the job and leave the job at the job. It's like, nope, can't do that. I go, packing up, my Aunt Sophia coming, time to go. And so, however, being the person that I am and honestly surrounded by the women like Eugenia and our friendship circle, they are some go-getters. I don't know. I always get the phrase wrong, but what are you, the average of the 5 around you? And I have some tough cookies around me that constantly keep us grinding and moving. And so in my day job, even though that was my mentality this was a do the job and go home. My work ethic proved otherwise. I started, I had an opinion. I got involved, immediately joined the business resource groups. Shout out to Black employees across Warner Media and Warner Brothers. Was on the board for 10 years, became involved in mentorship programs at the studio and just always lended my voice because I had something to say, but even more so because I was a Black woman that had something to say. Typically in spaces and places that were not meant for us or meant to care about our opinions. However, when the television landscape started to change and faces in front of the camera, as well as the decision makers behind the scenes, then my voice sounded a little bit more needed, necessary, and clear to those that needed to lend on that. So especially when it affects the bottom line and the inclusion and having, representation in your business absolutely affects the bottom line positively. That's not an anecdote. That's not something I'm saying. That there is proof. All you data-driven people, there's plenty of research and proof to prove that. And so I've been lucky on this journey to have chosen a job and actually chosen a boss coming into Warner Brothers that allowed me to do me, allowed me to be authentic in who I am and have an unapologetic Black agenda. I'm very clear about that in my day job and in my life. And so Eugenia's had more of, like I said, a steady path to success. And she's a little more successful than me. And that's great because I can borrow money. But Eugenia,
you need those friends, okay?
You need those friends, girl. I need to borrow $1 right now. Look, by the look at my bank account before I logged in today, I'm gonna need to borrow $1 today.
Yes, friend. So you all have, you all really continue to work in corporate. And I think one of the big questions in Eugenia, you might be able to address this, having been in corporate for so long. Why does it still benefit you to be there now that you are, even after you've built a brand that is having the traction? Let's talk about that. I think the community could really benefit from that. A lot of folks are in something that has enabled them to build a business. Then that decision on how do you keep moving it forward, or will you have to stop, and with the whole family situation going on. Talk to us about how you've thought about that decision-making process for yourself and what advice you might give to help others navigate that for themselves.
Well, I know with me personally, I actually enjoy what I do. So I think that has a lot to do with it. When you actually enjoy what you do. And I've been told on countless occasions, because of the numbers and everything, I'm considered a master builder. And I think that is very much a part of who I am, which is the irony of it, is that I enjoy building things. And I actually enjoy, even more than I enjoy building things, I enjoy building people.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm passionate about. It's something that makes me excited. It's something that that when I look at someone that I actually helped them get the courage to be who they were. It's not like I can make you something that you're not. I can't do that, but I definitely can be the person to help guide you into your greatness. And I enjoy that. So that's what I do by day. That's actually what I do for a living is I help people build companies. I help people manage companies, and then I help the people who manage the companies manage themselves.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's part of what I love, and I learned so much in my day job that I'm actually able to incorporate it into my entrepreneurial desires. So that's what I love about it.
So to that point, I think what you really mentioned is a big point for others. Reason you stay in, one, you love it, and two, you feel like there are things you're gaining in your role on your job that you could apply to the business. I think that
and then
is
also money,
and money. Let's be real. We need the money to build a business. It doesn't make money from day one, sometimes not day two. How do you actually build it to the level it needs to be so that maybe one day you have that option to do it full time if that is the nature of the business?
Right. Even things as simple as your schedule, managing your time. On my day job, if it's not on my, excuse me, if it's not on my calendar, if it's not up as a reminder on my phone. And so, practice makes perfect, and you practice in the way that you actually want to run. So like Eugenia says, we are able to run our business almost with the same amount of structure as we do our day job, and it gets tiring. It gets tiring to work, from anywhere from 8 a.m. to 6 or 7 on your day job, and then take a quick break. And then, Eugenia and I on her drive home from work, or she's just like, I'm just going to stay at the office until 10 o'clock. She's also considered an essential worker, being in the finance business. So she's been in her office every day of the pandemic. I've had the pleasure of working from home. If that is a pleasure to some, it has been to me. I've been quite productive in this way. But it's really allowed us to be very mindful of, every time, every hour, so we have to schedule meetings for our business between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. Then again, in that lunch hour window, either a 12 to 1 or a 1 to 2. So it's our lunch, or we're waiting until after that 6 o'clock hour. We're revamping our website right now. So last night we spent with our web designer and us until, almost midnight. And so that's the price you pay. But again, things like knowing where your money's coming from every 2 weeks and being able to that, I feel like my day job actually, it really has been funding our business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Our day jobs fund our business and have access to, certain things that we wouldn't if we were just out, took the plunge. And I think,
insurance, just a lot of benefits.
Insurance, the things, but there does come a time when I think that you begin to know as a business owner that you're in your own way. And, how can you adjust? Does that mean you step out and take over? Or does that mean that you then really look to find a person who who's passionate about either your business or the ability to grow businesses like you, and put them in position to kind of run the business for the day job while you're doing your job. So we haven't quite gotten there yet, but I don't see, in the future, I do see that for us, and it's a very slippery slope when you're still employed. Hi, I still like my job, guys.
I think that one of the big things that I think employers should understand when they have employees that are like us is that many of the things that we learn that we're learning along the way with our own business actually impact our performance in our day jobs.
Yeah.
Because, like when we're looking at, when I'm looking at social from the perspective of my firm, I understand intimately how social works because I'm looking at, we're looking at the data in the back end. We're figuring out new ways that we can approach it. We're aware of, updates and, things that are going to impact our business and our digital marketing strategies.
Yeah.
All of that is stuff that I've learned running this business that I'm now able to package up and then also bring with me back to work. That entrepreneurial education is real.
Yeah.
And that actually happened.
Yeah.
I was going to say that actually happened. We were out at an event in the last couple months, and some of the marketing executives from that particular company were there. And, we got to talking on the side, and I was like, let me take off my entrepreneur hat and put on my work hat, because I actually think in my day job, there's some things, some connectivity and synergy, if we're still using that word, that we might want to explore beyond me being here as Wendy, co-founder, CEO. And we actually did that. So I actually am having conversations with them that have nothing to do with ConditionHER or our that wasn't necessarily the route for us to take right now, but absolutely perfect timing to be speaking with regarding some things from my day job. And so, it has been interesting for us to learn. And I think one of the biggest things for us is the community that we've become a part of as not just founders, but women founders and Black women founders. Mm-hmm. Communities like Eureka, I Fund Women,
yes,
so many opportunities, and just companies that have also, stepped up post in the midst of the uprising after the senseless murder of George Floyd and the uprising. Companies kind of came in and said, okay, what can we do? How can we give back? And we have been the recipient of a lot of those opportunities, from Facebook ad budgets to, currently being in a 6-month mentorship incubator with an amazing, shout out to Power Digital and that team that has us basically in college on every other Friday at lunch hour learning. And it's just been magnificent. We wouldn't necessarily have access to them if we hadn't sought out community. There's a lot of brands that we consider our business besties. Yeah. All men of different backgrounds that have very similar stories as us. We're not doctors or chemists or, Shantae Lundy, who owns Black Rose Sunscreen.
Love her. She was on the podcast.
Shout out to Shantae. What's up,
yes,
girl?
We love you.
Another biz bestie. That wasn't her background, but she identified an issue that wasn't just an issue she had, but affected other men and women, and came up. And, for us, we're not scientists. We're not gynecologists. We're women with vulvas and vaginas, and, found a need that women were actually speaking amongst themselves about in various ways, whether you dealt with ingrown hair. A lot of European women just on basic level just didn't like couldn't deal with the coarseness of their pubic hair. It's so vastly different from the hair on their head. So they were looking for ways to soften pubic hair. And then there were those that were just looking, to be have a health and wellness focus, and their pH balance was very important to them, and they wanted to maintain. So we created a product, that served a need that many didn't know that there would be something for.
Yeah.
So if I'm saying that right, how do people say, Gina, that we're the product people didn't know they needed until
they didn't know they needed?
Mm-hmm.
So right.
Talk to me about those origins, because I think this is a good point. When you discover something that people don't fully know yet that they need because it doesn't exist, but they have the problem, and you create something that meets that product market fit, and you are that nexus. Talk to us about how you approached creating the product, affirming that this is the right thing for you to do, and also what incited you to build this. Like, you could have done a hair product. There's a lot of that out there. You could have done so many makeup, so many other products that are also doing well, but you landed on ConditionHER for intimate skincare. So talk to us more about how this started for you two.
This is interesting. I'll start where it started, and Eugenia can go into how we got here with it.
Okay.
Listen, there's nothing like mixing a man that you're dating long distance with your set tight clique of girlfriends and drinks over happy hour. Yeah. So really honestly was sparked from a long distance relationship I was in. And I know this particular gentleman, I don't know if he smiles and is like, yeah, that's me. Or when he hears this story, or if he's just like, where's my cut of this money?
As long as you don't come ask for it, you can smile all you want.
Right. Thanks for the inspiration, boo. But this particular brother preferred, was very communicative and preferred, let's just say he preferred more than the 2-finger landing strip that I was keeping.
Uh-huh.
So I wasn't bare, but it was just enough for me and my little coverage. And but he preferred hair, to be honest, and was very communicative in letting me know that, if I wouldn't mind not waxing. And also very clear about he just didn't want a bush, but he wanted the presence.
Okay, got you.
I said, so that led to, this was 2013, and with girlfriends in Chicago. And I'm telling the business.
I used to live there. So I'm like, imagining you now.
Imagine. So it's me and the girls, and we had drinks, right? There's drinks. We all number one a rosé. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling the business. I was like, girl, guess what this man told me?
Yeah.
What? Girl, he wants me to keep more hair. So it was like, what? For why?
Right.
Say this. And I was like, girl, he told me that the presence of pubic hair for him was a sign of maturity and like a grown woman. And he always felt that from an adolescent. And then
I can see that.
Became a grown man. And, I'm sure men watch porn and women do too, that have an image of, so for whatever it was, the sight of bare vulva was
right. Okay.
And he was able to express that. And so, but at the table I was like, my issue now is like, okay, so this new bush, how I'm going to soften it? Sisters always want to know, how are we moisturizing and softening something?
How are we doing something? How are we maintaining
lotion? Is this getting pink hair oil lotion? Are we doing, what we doing here?
What are we doing?
Brown gel, what's going on?
Are you not able to wax at all? Or are you just not like you
so
used to?
he just, now girl, I laser. When the relationship was done, my esthetician, I was on Connie's table like, get it all, Connie, get it, girl. Get on in the V, get it, girl.
Oh,
but
man.
no, that's
laser,
literally,
yes.
Right. Shout out to laser. I love laser, but, and Black women, you can get laser. Talk center, make sure they've had Black clients and because sometimes they don't show us, but you can get laser. So anyway, back to the point was at the table, I was like, how am I going to soften this hair that I'm going to be keeping? And we were just joking. And by bottle number 2 or 3 and a couple gin and tonics, it was just the laugh of the night.
Yeah.
And to create this product called Shampussy, basically, is what we were going to make.
Stop it. Was that the name?
Yeah. We decided that we should make Shampussy. Even though that sounded like a shampoo, it was just so funny for the night. It
was hilarious.
The joke of the night.
Yeah.
And the next morning as a marketer, I woke up and I was like chuckling and I picked up my phone like you do in bed and I start Googling pubic hair conditioner, pubic hair softener, pubic hair shampoo, and nothing was there. However, I did stumble across all of these groups. At the time, there were forums. We weren't discussing things on Instagram women were in forums. And ironically, it was mostly European women asking for ways to soften their pubic hair. So this started on a quest to soften and maintain pubic hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it started as that. And when we met our chemist several years later, it shifted into more of a health and wellness. And it became less about softening the hair and more about softening the hair and more about the health and wellness journey and women's pH balance.
Yeah. So I have some questions for you based off of that. So
go right ahead.
You have the situation, you have your life experience that makes you think about, addressing the pubic hair and getting it softer, right? You have the laugh with the girls, but it leads down the research, right? You're like, let me actually think about this. What happens in between there and there that you end up getting?
It was
chemist, right? How did you know that was even your next step? I think that's great. And then where were you looking at the time to create that, to close that gap and say, I don't know anything about making anything. I could put shea butter on there, but I don't know.
Great question. And ladies, don't put shea butter on there. It's not clogs your pores. So if you're like, oh, I'm natural, I'm using this raw, you got the raw shea butter in the jar, ma'am, you're clogging your pores. It's not good. It's not perfect for there is shea butter in our product, but it's been formulated by a chemist, a female biochemist. Shout out to Julia. But so that's a great question because again, we weren't chemists. I have a background in retail, worked for, around a lot of prestige beauty brands. That's what's considered high-end beauty for those who weren't familiar with the term. And so in my time, I was very familiar with the fact that they used a lot of them private labeled, meaning if you're looking at makeup, your Wet n Wild lipstick might be made at the same place, I don't know, probably not, but for this conversation, might be made at the same lab that makes Chanel. But there might be elements of that are similar, that they're able to make, similar products. So that's an example. So I knew that private label existed. So from 2013 to 2016, we just tried different things. I think that first year we really went hard, tried to find labs. I was Googling private label hair and shampoo conditioners, because we didn't want to quite tell people what this was for. But one thing that we noticed is that everywhere we went, those labs were run by men. Mm-hmm. Men that were asking us, like, what do you think should be in this? And we're like, we don't know. Argan oil, little shea butter, like you said, what else is softening? What are we using these days? And that's kind of the route that we were going to go. And something just didn't feel right. Not to mention that the rates that we got to own our own formula were astronomical and just seemed unattainable for us, for something that was a big risk. Like I said, we're both moms. Eugenia is not a single mom. I am. And of course, we have grown kids, but we're still both moms. I just bought my kid to bed the other day. So we're still on the hook for things. Mm-hmm. But we just kind of paused. There was maybe a year. So we just kind of paused until I went on vacation with another one of our close friends and met a PhD biochemist in the jacuzzi with her family on vacation too.
Wow.
Visiting from Europe. And I mean, the chances of us four just being in this jacuzzi, I once I understood what she did for a living, I was like, can I ask you a question? And I asked her, and she got super excited. She said, Wendy, in Europe, there's lots of products like this. We're way ahead in terms of intimate skincare, sexual brands. And here in the States, it's less. She was like, I know exactly what you need. I know exactly. She was like, how are you going to make this? And when I told her, she didn't say this, but basically she told me we were about to make everybody's coochie fall off. Oh. She said, I'm going to go back to Europe. She is the head of biochemistry at the lab that she oversees. And she said, I'm going to make it in my lab and I'm going to come back in a few months with your samples. And 4 months later, in 2016, she came back with our samples, and it was beautiful. It took us another 3 years to raise the money to get that done. So not sure. Yes. Sorry, just getting a little distracted, but to raise the money to make that happen, but we did it. And so here we are. We launched in June of 2019, and here we are as founders of ConditionHER, who've grown it from zero to where we're at now.
That's amazing. And yes, what are the odds of meeting your chemist in the jacuzzi? That is pretty amazing. And then you had the courage to be like, can I ask you a question to see if this could be a connection there? It all worked out.
It did. It was a beautiful thing. She made us see immediately when I told her, we're trying to soften pubic hair. She said, no, that's not what you're trying to do. So that's easy. You can do that. We'll add some things. She said, Wendy, this is a health and wellness brand. Helping a woman maintain pH balance is important. And it's not always something that we could help with externally. People may say, well, I thought this was for the vulva. And again, folks, the vulva is the external part of your vagina. Vagina is the internal. It leads to the, we're not doctors. These are things we've learned, is the internal canal that leads to our cervix, where you put your tampons and things like that. Everything on the outside, your lips, your clitoris, all of that is vulva. So this product is meant for that. And so what happens is everything we put on our body, on our skin, what does it do? It penetrates, it melts in, it affects. And the things, all of the lotions and because I know y'all are down there, you're spraying your Vicky Secrets, your body spray, your perfume. You got a hot date. What you doing real quick? You spraying in the inner thighs. You might spray right outside your underwear, and don't act like you don't do it, ladies. You've all done it. And that is seeping into your skin and potentially throwing you off. And so
from a pH standpoint and stuff.
From a pH standpoint, not to mention the chemicals that may be clogging your pores and be the same.
Because these are scented things, fragrance and Yeah.
And there is a bit, most people are like, I don't want any fragrance. However, we do have scents that will be coming forth in our brand later, but they are natural scents. They are they are the way that she's made them. And we'll get do a better job of explaining that. But listen, some people are super sensitive. So natural, extract, not, they are going to be sensitive to anything fragranced. So that's why I guess it worked out. Even though I wanted to release a scent and unscented at the same time, and it just didn't work out that way. So it's been great for us.
Yeah. So talk to me about how important it was for you to get that scientist and how the biochemist and how that actually changed getting clear. Because it seems like one of the major things she did was help you get clear on what problem you were trying to solve, so that she could then tailor that more specifically to the function the product was going to have. And then, of course, the way you could then communicate the product. So you had been around since 2013, but really felt like the company didn't really pop off until 2019. A lot of that really was in conjunction with really getting the biochemist and a lot of things that followed. Talk to me about how getting clear shifted things for you.
Gina? You're on mute.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Keep that open.
Sorry. I was having some technical difficulties.
No problem.
I think that the biochemist, what she did for us is that what most experts do, right? So when you're an entrepreneur, it's really important for you to find experts, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know all of this stuff. You have an idea, but to take that idea from concept to reality, you really need to get some experts in place. And so that's what she brought to us. She brought her level of expertise. And then she was a game changer for me with this idea, right? So when, in partnerships, there's always, you have the person who has the idea, but the person with the idea can't always get the other person's buy-in, right?
Yes.
And so that's what she did for me. She got my buy-in because she was able to take what Wendy was saying and give it the meat. You know what I mean? Like she was able to help us really realize that this was much bigger than just some conditioner with a different name. She helped us to understand the importance of the product and the real power that it could, the real weight of it, like meaning that it could be bigger than even what we were saying. And then her level of expertise, like in how particular she was, like she had the same type of passion, about her creating products that actually impact women in a powerful way, in a positive way. So that when she brought that, it was a game changer.
So what was the conversation Wendy had with you to get you to buy in? And it seems like you were a little shaky, and our friend biochemist came through, and then you were like, oh, okay, I can ride with that. I was riding, but I could roll with that.
I got her buy-in before the chemist. We just knew it
so sure.
as something. She'll tell you when she got the buy-in.
Listen, just keep in mind, it was called Shampoossy when it first came to, so that was a challenge, trying to get on this.
That was a challenge.
That was a challenge. But she called me when, like I said, my first foot in the water was, she called me and she was like, this person that she knows and she's very close to had given her a name. And when she told me the name ConditionHER, I was like, that's it. And I was like, this is something different. I was like, and now this is something special, because the name was exactly what we wanted the product to do. And
it was careful. It felt more serious and caring than Shampoossy is hilarious, but maybe it'll make women think like it's not as powerful and scientific and thoughtful, right? What it's doing.
Right.
That's the type of name you come up with. That's the name you come up with when you're drinking and having fun.
Oh yeah.
I think what sold me, whether Gina was sold or not, was the fact that no products existed. And I am Google extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Nothing existed. And nothing did exist in the United States. I did find things in Europe, Latin America that were similar. And I could see that they had whole companies that were rooted in this. But there was nothing there. And to be honest, there was nothing there until 30 days after we met our chemist. Wow. I I would research at that point, I was researching every 30 days, doing the same Google searches. Nothing until 30 days after we met our chemist in 2016, and a brand did pop up. And they do tout themselves as being the first. Although they are not technically in making something like that, I did find something that someone in the porn business had tried, absolutely off, completely off. I could see why it didn't go anywhere, but they were thinking in the same. They were thinking in terms of conditioning pubic hairs. And so that's how we started. And so, I think over time, what really, actually, when the brand did pop up first, I almost quit. I cried. I was like,
you thought it was over.
Imagine like feeling like you stumbled upon like,
gold,
the jackpot, the gold, you know what I mean? Hidden treasure. And then all of a sudden somebody's, like, I got the treasure too. I got, as a matter of fact, I got the treasure. We've got more money than you. We're members deep on our team.
Yeah.
We are Caucasian and we have a lot of resources and assets that you're really just not going to have in place for the next 4 years. So they have a 4.5 year jump on us, even though this idea came in 2013.
Yeah.
But their product is different than ours in the way that it's made, the type of product that it is.
So how did you bounce back after seeing that? You probably cried your tears, and what made you come back and say, but we still have something special and different. We should still do
a book I was reading by Adam Grant. I wish it was I wish I could see it on my shelf back there, but it's called, I'm probably getting the whole title wrong, but it's Originals, how nonconformists, change the world, something of that, but it's called Originals by Adam Grant. And I'm a big fan of Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah. And I stumbled upon this book. It felt very, very Malcolm Gladwell-ish.
Yeah. I like Adam Grant. He's the psychologist, right?
Yes. And as a matter of fact, in doing my research, him and Malcolm are connected. And I think Malcolm wrote like a foreword from his books, but the whole book is about how, it was like it was speaking to me. It was like, you don't have to be first to be like the end all be all. You just got to be better. Yeah. So we may not be first. I'm actually thankful to those ladies for, touting first and being on the road and getting, what did we hear something recently? Like they get all the arrows in their back from us that are like staring them down on the same path. And so they get to make the mistakes. They've actually proved market viability for us. They're in more retailers than us. Their community's a little larger. So it gave us more proof that this is a thing. And when have you ever been in a store and seen one product on a shelf? You know what I mean? One of anything. There's several.
You get choices. Yeah.
Yep. So there's niches. Room for us. There's room for us. Like right now, Shantae was the only on that sun care aisle for a long time. There's others coming, Bea Dixon was the only, Black woman in feminine care. And we're hoping to sit right alongside competing products or not. There's enough room for us. And I do think sometimes as Black people, we get in this space where like, there's only room for me, and that's, we talk crabs in a barrel, and I don't subscribe to that and don't surround myself with people that do. There's room for us all. Whether you like us because you think our tube is cute or you like us because
the tube is fire. It really is.
Thank you. Shout out to Kendra Dandy, Black woman, amazing artist.
Love the design.
If you're on Instagram and you want to check her out, but like
we didn't hear her page.
What Blue Fonts? VTHEE Bouffant, BOUFFANTS. It's really dope artist. But again, lots of differences between us. We're cream based. The majority of there's are oil based.
Oh, okay.
Cream and oil react differently to the skin.
Yes.
For men, for fellas out there, if you're wondering, hopefully you haven't tuned out. Hopefully we've kept you entertained enough to stay locked in. But men use our product. And just so fellas know, I always pull up my notes again, because we're not doctors or scientists, but in terms of like, how do men affect women's bodies? Fellas, all of you in these hopefully committed relationships, okay, that are, what do y'all call it? Shooting up the club or basically, not using protection with your partner. You're okay with. Semen is alkaline, okay? And so our vaginas are acidic, really between a 3.5 and a 4.5 level of acidity. And it changes when we start our cycles, that changes, but that's what maintains it. So men throw us off. So if you have a new partner and you're not practicing safe sex and you notice got a little off scent, that could be, you could have interrupted your vaginal flora. Fellas, you've got a new partner, or sometimes y'all have 2, 3, y'all ain't talking about, but that's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother podcast. But that little scent you smelling that you've told your homeboys is a scent, it might be, you think it's pheromones, sir, that's BV, bacteria vaginosis. Like there's things that are there. And so men initially, when we introduced this product, would be like, okay, was it edible? They didn't really get it. But once we clicked and they started to understand pH balance, acidity, alkaline, and how that works, the aha, and they got it.
So where do the men put theirs? Right on their penis?
So men use it. Men either are buying it for their partners.
Okay.
If their partner has bought it and they see this cute little tube and they read that it's unscented and they read, oh, it works on ingrown. So they take it and they're like,
oh,
they shave, because they're shaving tier 2 and they go this, and they realize that it soothed the irritation from razor burn. And those that beard and went like this, they realized that it also softened their beard. It was not formulated for that, but just like most products along the way, as customers start to use it in the most peculiar of ways, not that you necessarily intended it to be used that way, it's product discovery. You learn. We didn't have the term chafing. We didn't know. I was spelling chafing wrong for the longest time. There's only one F in chafing, y'all, not 2. Learn that. But we've now, in our new tubes, it's absolutely
You're calling
there.
it out. And I read underarms, right? So we're saying
underarm
for chafing, for ingrown hairs, that tells you anywhere there's ingrown hairs, really.
Right.
And also for underarms, which you can get ingrown hairs there too. It's another sensitive private part for some people, right?
People that struggle with eczema. There's some people that suffer with sebaceous cysts. Women that are especially post-menopausal, there are several conditions that cause the drying of the skin during the menopause phase. So you're drying out internally, you're also drying out externally. And I don't want to get it wrong, it starts with an L, but there is a condition that we wouldn't have known about if someone didn't email us and say, I've been searching for an all-natural product to help with this post-menopausal skin irritation.
Okay.
Yours, I love the ingredients, and we think I want to try yours. And men are using it just the way we are. I have a friend who was like, listen, my boyfriend's pubes are kind of rough and he's been using my ConditionHER. I'm going to order 2 tubes. So, and that's kind of where
they can put it on their pubic hair as well and get the same benefits.
Right. We've also had a parent reach out that had a 7-year-old little girl who, whatever was going on with her urine, she chafed. She got a lot of redness and irritation, and they had only been using coconut oil, which is very, very close. Your doctor will tell you a woman can use raw coconut oil to moisturize, but again, oil just hits it a little different
than
on your
cream,
skin.
like you were saying.
They were able to use this on their 7-year-old safely. Like that's why a lot of times Black women, we have a lotion regimen, a moisturizer. So you got your base lotion, you're gonna put your lipstick on, then you got your smell good something. Then you got a lot of women use their oil because they want the kind of shimmer shine that you feel like that oil does for you. And so,
one of the other features and benefits is really that you call out it being a daily moisturizer.
Yes.
So in terms of getting that habit, it might be, this might be a habit people don't already have, but really calling that out to say, hey, you can use this every day safely in order to get those results. Yeah, I think that was also a good point.
And, we always tout, Black don't crack, right?
Yeah.
And
even though it's not true.
It's not true.
It's not true. Well, and, I'm 46, right? And I always...
Honestly, y'all don't make it look like it's not true. You're not the best examples. You're really, truly not. But we're going to let you talk because you know something.
Right, right.
You know the fountain of youth.
But the beauty in that is that one of the things that I am serious about is my skincare regimen. As women of color, SPF is important and moisture is even more important because, you just the aging process all over your body, not just on your face, but everywhere.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. So talk to me about some of the milestones. I would say from what I've heard, having the idea was a big one. Getting that biochemist and having that really surreal moment in the jacuzzi, having her work on it. What were some other milestones for you that you feel like really have brought this to life in ways that make you super excited and proud of each other?
I'll start. I think just 2020 was really our first year in business. And we went into very modest. We went into that knowing this is a product we're probably going to have to give away half of our initial inventory, just for the sheer fact that this is new to people. This is brand new, whether they want to admit listen, when people close that bathroom door, child, I don't care if that's your best friend. I don't care if that used to be your lover, your partner, whatever. We don't talk about exactly what we do when we close that shower curtain or that shower door. People do a lot in there that you do that, and so ask people like, girl, how you wash your coochie? Do you go from left to right, up and down, side to side? Just like we don't ask people, and this is what started the question. And to be honest, have you ever used your hair shampoo or conditioner on your pubes? And it's different reactions all the time. Some people look around to see if anybody else is some people will start to say, no, I've never done that. I've never thought about that. And then you see the person that's looking around that hasn't really said anything because they're doing it. And then until somebody else says, I done it. And they'll be like,
and they're like, me too.
And then we're doing it for different reasons. Some were using it to soften their hair, like I thought. Some were like, oh, I thought it might be adding a scent. And some were strictly using it. A lot of my white girlfriends using it in the shower as a shave cream. So they've been doing it for years. Shampoo
and conditioner as a shave
Yes, cream. Either grabbing their shampoo or grabbing their hair conditioner and putting it on that area. And so going into 2020 was just let's be modest. Let's have a very, very attainable goal. Couple tubes a day sold. This is difficult to ask these women to add a new step to their regimen. Actually, Eugenia kind of spoke to it earlier. It was the importance of having an intimate skincare regimen.
Yeah, that word, intimate.
Yes, we will have, if we get time, I'll run through our 7 steps towards the end. But one of the biggest milestones last year, and I hate to say milestone, but it was, as much as it was a tragedy, was the murder of George Floyd. And the uprising, the movement that it caused around the world, and the push to support Black-owned businesses. Black Tuesday, hands down, changed the game for us. And I know other brands. It was the most.
I know a lot of other brands too. Yeah,
I call it a beautiful disaster. It was the most beautiful, uncomfortable, heart-wrenching, yet time of our brand. Yeah. Here we went to praying Lord Jesus, please let me hear that little ding on the Shopify today. So I know we got to sell, to me calling Gina what's going on?
Right.
This, and people from all over, celebrities, sorts of people. And then there were those group of white women who were they wanted to support a Black-owned brand, but they wanted to support Black women. They were even more niche in their support. And that shot us off the edge. And, it's really pushed us. And I'll say another game changer was adding our lovely publicist, Amanda, who's hopefully on still listening.
Yeah.
Allowing us
one game-changing moment I'd
this.
To share.
I'll throw it in, but allowing us moments like this have been a game changer because it allows us to present ourselves in our own authentic voices as we look, we are, and our personalities. And to be honest, up until that moment, we didn't reveal. We were very intentional about not revealing ourselves as a Black-owned brand.
Yeah, because it was not a benefit back in the day, right? It wasn't a benefit.
No. I mean, hey, listen, other people of other, racist ethnic backgrounds are skeptical of their own, just like we are. So, we weren't, I don't know that white women would come to us if we weren't gynecologists or in some space, the amount of proof we were going to have to present. And even sometimes your own, they'd be like, they don't know nothing about making them. They don't know nothing about that. I'm not buying. Right. And you see the difference from your own friends when they see your website and they see reviews from people they know you don't know. They come to Instagram and they see people from around the world leaving comments about their experience, and they know you don't know them. So this is someone else who's had an experience with your brand and a positive experience. So much so they've taken the time and energy to talk about it to others. And so, we sell a lot to Europe, a lot to Canada. We do ship internationally. Now we ship to the States, y'all. And we do have
love that.
We'll share, but Eugenia, go ahead, jump in. My bad.
I know. I'm going all the way back. I remember when we first got we got our first samples. This is before we actually had a bottle. We just had samples, and we were testing the product to make sure it worked. And I remember after maybe a week and a half of us actually testing our own product on ourselves, we had a call and we were like, girl, it works.
Wait, because you're right. But wait, no, because you know what? It was, like,
Love
I
that.
just felt like I wasn't using it every day for a moment. And I started feeling inadequate. I said, Gina, girl, are you using this every day? I said, we need to, because are we selling goods? Are we out here telling these women it's going to affect their pubic hair? And we done sold them, a dream in a bottle. And I said, we got to be very intentional about using this with our samples, and I was like, Gina, does it feel? It's not like you can be like, girl, feel this, on your own self. Like,
okay, so you didn't go that far.
My partner at the time was like, a new partner wasn't a big hair guy. And he was like, oh, you letting that grow out for your brand, huh? I was like, yes, I am. To see what to do if the thing is thinging with this cream.
Yeah.
But to show, I'll do the little work. No, go ahead and talk through Gina, and I'll do this at the end. Go ahead.
Yeah, to realize when like I said, for us to have that intimate moment of just us. Like I said, this is when it was still in samples, not in a bottles, in little containers. And, we knew that, our goal was, razor bumps and hair softening. And so, like I said, after about 2 weeks, we were like, oh my God, it actually worked.
Oh, but I have another one too. Go ahead.
We did this. We really did this. That it's like a big moment when you actually realize that you've done it.
Yeah. Even that though, like the hair softening is one thing, but I'll tell you in that same moment, because I know where our time is up. Shout out to Adara, one of our biggest fans, someone that I have not met in person, only Instagram. Adara let me know, and she was very transparent with us and her following, that she suffered from sebaceous cysts, something I hadn't even on her vulva. And it was something hereditary that she had dealt with. And she was getting married at the time. She's on a few years now and just announced she's on baby number 2. But at the time, she was about to be a new bride. And she was like, I see you keep talking about this brand that you're going to launch. And I said, oh, we just have samples. She said, can I try it? And I was like, girl, like, I'm scared. Like, I don't know. She was like, just send it. I sent it to her. And a couple days later, she called at 5 a.m. She's in New York, 5:30. She's like, this works. I've never had something indicate that it was not only going to dry out the sebaceous cyst that was trying to form, but not leave a mark. She was like, please hurry up and get this here. So it became like, that's when it was game changer for us, for people that actually had issues that they were dealing with. And that was another big milestone moment. Before
that's a big proof.
Again, if you're wondering, when you buy this, your little tube, got, as Adara says, because she's a pastor's wife, that's the V in virtue. And she says that worship must go forth in the home. So we're going to keep the V in. So it's cream-based. So I'll do the YouTube. So you just squeeze out, I think about that much should be enough. It's very that's enough to cover your
covered area.
And so I don't have underwear, guys. I'm in stand just to give you a little show. So belly button here, right? So every day after I shower, all this skin underneath belly button, all down here, all, you get on top of this bone here, in vulva area. So all this area down here gets ConditionHER. I do not use, I'm a Nivea lotion girl. So I don't use my Nivea in that area. I grab my ConditionHER first after drying off. And goes here, right under the belly button, all
the way.
I get down into the creases in here for those that shape. This is where you want it. The little V here, it's going in there. And then you get your little fingers ready and get your hair. Okay. You talk to her and you praise her and you tell her how wonderful she is.
Yes.
And
look, we got a demo over here.
Yes. Okay. You got to talk to her. Let her know that thank you for still working.
Yes.
And the WAP is still whopping. And now we've got the moisturized. And so the moisturized and pH balance. So we've given you the map to the WAP. And as we wrap the 7 steps that I mentioned, keep it clean. Not going to tell you to use. If you use soap and water, you're just using warm water. If you're using Honey Pot, whatever, brands that you love, use that. Not going to get into that for you. Okay. Your gynecologist will just tell you warm water is fine, but do you. Number 2 is you want to exfoliate, especially for those who are suffering from ingrown, and that's a challenge. You can go to the 99-cent store and get that little exfoliating glove. You don't want anything too rough. That skin is very thin and sensitive. Circular motions. I do it from belly button down 3-4 times a week. Circular soft motions on the thighs everywhere. I do it a little bit before, like for those that laser, you shave before you laser. So I do a little bit on those days, or if it's in between little bit before shaving. I do a little bit after, and it keeps the hair, ingrowns are nothing. They're getting stuck under the dry skin. Right. So a lot of times women's skin is dry and it's so thin. If you notice when you get an ingrown, it's almost like you can just pick at it to pop it up. Like the skin's so thin, you just get it to pop right out. And so exfoliating stops that from happening. Then step three is you're going to moisturize, of course, with ConditionHER. And you're going to moisturize with ConditionHER. And that's step 3. You're going to keep that. Step 4 is, I hope I don't forget all my steps, but step 4 is you want to make sure you're being very particular about what you put in your body. And you're watching the types of foods, heavy sugars, they affect, how our body functions. But there's lots of things you can buy at the grocery store when you're shopping every week. Strawberries. Let me get my little list out so I don't miss anything. Almonds are great. They're great. Vitamin B. They prevent vaginitis. Almonds are great if you don't have a nut allergy. Let's see, strawberries. Strawberries have more vitamin C than oranges. And so that helps free you from vaginal dryness, itching. Vitamin C plays a role in collagen synthesis. So that's, keeping the muscle elasticity, keeping the woppy. Cranberries, raw cranberries.
Cranberries, yes.
On some raw cranberry juice. Not with the sugar added, not cran apple, cran ras, cran strawberry, straight up. Yep, the nasty one.
Real, the bitter.
Trader Joe's for $2.99 drink. Yep, try to drink a glass of that a day isn't bad. At least several times a week. But yeah, so making sure that's step 4, what you're putting in your body. Step 5 is go to your doctor. Do your well woman. I hear a lot. I don't know what happened in the gynecology world where we only go every 2-3 years. I'm going every year for my well woman pap smear. Let me know what's going on. So that's 5. Number 6 is educate yourself. There's tons of books, out there about vagina health, new books that are written. Educate yourself and those around you. And last, y'all ready? Because this is the groundbreaker. Go ahead and throw them panties out that you've had since 2008.
Get us some fresh ones.
Yes, you need to re-up your panty drawer. We suggest every year. So when Christmas, when grandma, your mom is asking what you want new panties. So
yes. Like how men get socks every year, you get panties every year.
New year, new her. Just remember, new year, new her. So you're going to put this regimen, this 7-step regimen that we just went over. You're going to clear your panty drawer and you're going to be a lot kinder to your best friend down there, and ConditionHER is simply the best care for down there. And we're here to help you help her. So thank you for the time today. Really
but before we end, I do want to make sure we get to cover next frontier for ConditionHER. What can we expect from you all in the next weeks, months, longer than that? What can you share that's public that you can share what's going on? So we know to look out. We will certainly stay tuned. Follow ConditionHER on social platforms. That way you will know as it's coming. But what can you share with us today?
Well, so the holiday season is upon us. In the next, we'll say week and a half, you can expect a new website rollout. Really excited to do that. Kind of just have a more in line with who we are and who we've become and who we continue to become. Also, you can, if you didn't notice on our site, we do sell our body out kind of in brand. Girl, you'll have a pair. We have those in silver and gold. You'll see some bundles come along the way for the holiday season. But I want to say this right, because they are very specific about the way that we share this. And my husband gave me the blues. But one thing we're really excited about for those of you so this will be in the new year. So in the new year, we're doing some things with H&M this year and hoping to still be on their shelves as we move towards 2022. And so in the new year, you will continue to see more bundles, more products. There is a product that we're really excited to roll out, and it is eating me up not to talk about it.
Gotta stay tuned.
It's one of those things where it's kind of like the brand itself, how I stumbled upon it. It was one of those things where I'm looking, it's like, nobody's got it. I was like, Gina, I was probably driving her crazy last night, texting her at midnight, because I'm educating myself about this new product we're going to add to the line. And I was like, Gina, I think this is it. So if somebody pop up in the next 30 days, I'm going to have a heart attack.
But now it's not the end of the world at all.
It's not. And so we stay tuned. And in the new year, you will see us, 2022, we've got a lot in store, more interviews, more store locations, rolling out men's products by end of year, hoping to get into products for other family members. And just really connecting more with our community, finding more ways to talk about them. Yeah, to sell our product is great, but honestly, just to bring opportunity and information to other women, and have conversations that are uncomfortable and about things that we don't always talk about. Gina, anything I'm missing for 2020?
Well, you did tell us about H&M in New York. For those in New York, so we did that off of the podcast, but now that we're here, we want to make sure the New York folks can support you.
Oh, yes. New York. We're so excited. Let me get it because they special way. So we are so blessed through an organization called buyfromablackwoman.org, which is run by the lovely and beautiful Nikki Porche, who has just gone above and beyond for Black women. She is, what does she call herself? A champion for Black women, Eugenia. And
that's why I love her already. Same thing.
Yeah, listen, for any of you looking to be very intentional, whether it's your holiday shopping or a birthday, a dog's birthday, anything, I highly suggest you visit buyfromablackwoman.org.
Yes.
And you can literally, it is like a, what do you call that? I can't think of the name.
Directory.
It's
like a catalog.
Girl,
directory.
get my words. It is a directory. So you can put in literally dog food, dog items, dog clothes, yoga, everything that you could think that you, especially if you're doing a wedding, if you were getting married, shout out to the lucky ones getting married and sharing the bills in the next year. Essential about your wedding registry. Add brands that you found.
Good idea.
And honestly, we got that from our white girlfriends who wanted to be very intentional. And once we introduced them to the platform, next thing I knew, they were using it as a resource for their wedding registries. But we are thrilled to announce that ConditionHER will be a part of the Buy from a Black Woman holiday market presented by H&M. Times Square. What's up, New York? I'm coming. We will be there. Our kickoff, or we will be in store in the Times Square H&M location is December 18th. I believe 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And there's about 5 or 6 other phenomenal Black women-owned brands. So there'll be shopping, there'll be DJs. It's just amazing. So we're excited. We will be sold in store between December 18th and January 1st to start looking. So shout out to Buy from a Black Woman for creating community. Shout out to H&M for seeing the vision to step to the table, especially to support Black women. What we're super duper excited about.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. And just thank you for being so generous about your story. I really wanted to make sure we got to tell it and to support you all with that. Love your backgrounds. I think there's so much encouragement around if you are an employed entrepreneur, how can you still move it forward? I think one thing we learned is perhaps do it with a friend. I think many Black owned businesses are solo,
solopreneurs,
run by one entrepreneur, and it's just hard. And when you can do it and have fun with someone who has complementary skills, that's even better. So go find your smart friends and contribute, think of an idea and find a way to do it together. Perhaps it'll go further and at least you'll have a good time doing it.
Absolutely.
I think before we end, and I think because you all are because you are that duo, talk to us, Eugenia, about perhaps what is the one thing you do to keep your friend while having her as a business partner? And maybe I'll let you both answer that.
Well, if she wasn't my friend / sister, I would not be in this partnership.
That ain't right.
Keeping it 100.
She tried to quit me before.
Right. She asked me to be truthful and to be honest. Okay.
Yes.
So, but however, like the one thing about Wendy and I is that like we're like yin and yang. As you can see from our personalities, we're definitely yin and yang. And for the last 9 years, I worked with the 2 partners at my firm prior to merging into this larger firm. We were a mid-sized firm. And like I said, I work in business management. So I work on the backside of entertainment. And watching them navigate their partnership that has lasted over almost 30 years, I'd ask questions all the time. And one of the main partners, his name is Bernie. Bernie said, he was like, in a partnership, you're not always going to get along. He was like, but the beautiful thing about that is that it's not going to always be important to you. Right. He was like, so what you have to do is you have to really identify what's important to you. And those are the only things that should actually become an issue. He was like, because if you make an issue of everything that you guys actually disagree on, you'll be disagreeing all the time. He's like, but the only time that you should actually make a fuss of something is if you are really passionate and you really, really must have that. It's very, very extremely important to who you are as a person. I think that
knowing when to pick your battles, essentially, right?
Exactly. And it's not even just pick them, but make sure that you're picking ones that are extremely important to you. You know, I think that that's a very, very key piece in being able to maintain any partnership.
True. That's a good tip right there.
Yeah, it's a great tip. I mean, I'm extremely passionate about this. And sometimes over the years, my friends that don't know me as Wendy, the businesswoman, can find it very jarring when they encounter her. Because the friend is different. I'm very passionate. I don't play with reputation. I don't play with what we're doing, and neither does Eugenia. We have completely different skill sets. We almost couldn't function individually in this business. You know what I mean? In terms of like, Eugenia would definitely have the business plan would be set, the business formation documents, the accounting and all of that. But, you know, she might struggle on the marketing side and some of the creative side or thoughts of, you know, how to get it done once you've had the thought, but we think differently. I'm all ideas all day. I've been a marketer my whole life for the most part. And so, I am not envious of my friends that are solopreneurs because I do see the struggle. Yeah. They are the ones that have had to lend on funders. And although we are in the space to take funding and to work out that.
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
And I'm not a techie and I'm not a money girl. So as soon as they start talking numbers and money, I just get dizzy and I can just be like, Gina, you know what I mean?
Because you have the accounting background.
What Gina. That mean? You know, yes. She also is a techie. So when it comes, I mean, even working on our website this week, she can go in the back end. She can code. She knows coding and all of that. And I'd be like, child, who we gonna call? What's going on? But, you know, it's just, I think at the end of the day, Gina is my sister. Her children are my niece and nephews, if not by blood, just by, you know, they say you choose your family. And we absolutely have chosen each other. And it's just like that with all of our friends. I had one of my close friends just pass away. Shout out to my bestie Sunshine.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Her youngest daughter didn't realize I wasn't her real aunt. And as, you know, as much as, you know, console her, it made me feel really good. And it made me know that we've done a good job in guiding our children. And so again, opportunities like this mean the world to us. We thank you and your community for listening with us and following us. We'd love a follow on our
Absolutely.
And that's just everywhere. ConditionHER, everywhere at ConditionHER.com on Insta, TikTok. We're getting to the TikToks, y'all. You know, that's where the 40s start showing, where we were like, we got to do the what and the what now? The tick and
the talk. Yes.
You know, this is how you show your age.
I feel like Wendy would be perfect for it. Especially
I'm like, we're on the Facebook.
After creating Shampussy, like, I think it's a perfect space for you to have fun.
You know, when you get in your mid-40s, you got to put the in front of it so they know we own the Facebooks, we own the TikToks, the Instagrams, we own the Twitters. We own all of them.
All of them. Yeah.
We also want to give back to Black on Shelf. And so anyone, as you're listening or watching, use the code at any time on our site, Black on Shelf. And it will
Thank
20%
you.
off of whatever you put in your cart.
Okay. So they gave us a discount. So buy more than one. Okay. Go ahead and gift that. Go ahead and gift it. Okay.
It will be available all 2022.
Love that.
As immediately after this recording. And so, yes, happy to do it and happy to be here.
Thank you so much.
Full host, by the way.
Thank Wonderful. You. So we always end the podcast with, what does it mean for you to be Black on Shelf? So I'd love to hear each of you guys' answer on that. What does it mean to be Black on Shelf for you?
Oh, man. To be Black on Shelf, it's almost indescribable. When we sat in H&M the first time, through Buy From a Black Woman, through a special program they did, a one-off program. It wasn't a long-term thing. I cried. It is so affirming. To be Black on Shelf is the most affirming, the most, I knew what I was talking about. You know, the most, you know, it's completion. whether it goes your way or not, being Black on shelf means being seen, being heard, and putting ourselves in a position to be supported, not only by our community, by those that is first and foremost to us, but being Black on shelf means that it's giving us the opportunity to do just that, support, to create generational wealth for ourselves, our families, and our community. And it means the world to us. Gina, anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah, what it means to me is it means pull while you climb. That's what it means to me. I think one of the things that you learn as you climb the corporate ladder is that, you know, who you are. Like when you're Black, that's part of who you are as a person.
Yep.
And you take it everywhere you go, whether or not you want to or not. And in this journey of entrepreneurship and the things that we've learned along the way, I can honestly say that Wendy and I have been very intentional about pulling while we climb. So as we learn something, as we grow, we have literally been intentional about reaching back and sharing that information. And I think that the more of us that get on these shelves, we need to be very intentional about pulling a few more up on that shelf with us.
Definitely. We just love you all. ConditionHER, here to stay, you know.
We can't wait to come back when we launch this new product, because
definitely come back and keep
there's some
posted.
things we're going to need to debunk for women, because I think they'll know about this, but there's some things we're going to need to set straight on why we are so excited about bringing this product to market for women to see intimate skincare and the importance of health and wellness for women. So we can't wait.
Oh, we can't wait with you, and definitely looking forward to your success with H&M and hoping that grows into all that you would love it, and that other retailers come on by that are a great fit for you. So we are celebrating with you, super excited. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate you coming here today.